Hello everyone, welcome to my channel AQ Space. Today I have come up with the topic of selection control structures. There are a few scenarios when you need to decide between different options. These can be among two options or this can be more than two. For example, this girl is trying to decide whether to do her math homework right now or to go out shopping. So in these scenarios or in these situations, when you need to decide between different options, you use the decision control structures. These are the selective statements that employ a number of conditions which lead to a selection of one out of several alternatives. And since you need to decide, therefore these use the relational operators. In addition to relational operators, there are a few scenarios when you need to decide among more than one options. In that case, together with the relational operators, you use the logical operators as well. Talking about the different types of selection control, well, there are four different types of selection control structures. Selective if statements, if else statements, switch statements, and nested if statements. Let's study the if statements in detail first. Talking about the syntax of if statement in C, we use if followed by the parenthesis in which in fact, round brackets in which we define the condition which is the basis of the decision. And then within the opening and the closing brackets, we define what action has to be performed. It can be in the form of one statement or two statements. Then moving on from the syntax to the pseudocode of the if statement. We write it in a similar way, if written in caps lock, followed by the brackets enclosing the condition, then as many statements as you want. If the condition is true, these statements would be fulfilled, and then end if to tell that okay, this is the closing part of this if statements. That is, if the condition is true, both of these statements will be carried out, and then that would be the end of the if statement. No more would be required after that. Talking about the flow chart of the if statement, since it is a condition, so it is enclosed within the rhombus, followed by the yes and the no branches. The yes branch leads to the statement 1 and the statement 2, which directly moves on to the exit, whereas since we have no other option, that is either this condition is true and these two statements would be performed. In case of no, obviously nothing would be performed. Let's take an example of congratulating the A1 graders in college. First, we will draw the algorithm. Step 1, start, then read the percentage. If percentage is greater than equal to 80, then write congratulations and exit. Now talking about the flowchart, we start off with the oval, the parallelogram enclosing the read number, rhombus enclosing if percentage is greater than 80. If it is a yes, then write congratulations and exit. Since there is nothing regarding the no, obviously that would also lead to the exit without performing anything. Let's code this program in C language. So first we are going to include the heading congratulating the A graders. And then within main, we are going to write down, take a variable of integer data type by the name of marks. Using printf, we'll ask the user to enter the marks, because on the basis of these marks, we are going to decide. End it with semicolon. Scanf to take the marks as the input, since it is of integer data type, so the format specifier used here would be %d and marks. Again, end with semicolon. This time we are going to use the if statement to decide whether to congratulate that person or not, depending upon the marks. So if statement and the condition enclosed within the round brackets, marks is greater than equal to 80. If this is true, then execute whatever is enclosed within this curly bracket. We are going to slightly indent it and then write down printf congratulations. end it by semicolon, and then closing brackets. So these opening and closing brackets will reveal that this all the statements that are present in between them are a part of the if statement. So they all would be executed as long as the if statement is true. Let's run this program. Okay, so we are going to include we missed out comma in scanf. We run it again. This time it's asking for the marks. For example, we ended 84 and it wished us congratulations. So this is it. We did some error checking as well. Our next program is to calculate tax on salaries that are above 60,000 per month. So let's start. Step 1, start, then read salary. If salary is greater than equal to 60,000, then a tax of 10% would be applied to it, which makes up about 0.1 multiplied by the salary. We output the tax and then exit. Using this in the flowchart, starting off with an oval, then read salary in a parallelogram, decide if salary is greater than equal to 60,000. If it is a yes, then obviously tax would be calculated and output. If it's a no, then obviously nothing would happen and program will exit. Working on the C program, we first write down the heading of calculating 10% tax on salaries greater than 60K. Moving into the main structure, we are going to take salary as integer data type by the name of salary, and we will ask the user by printing using printf, enter the amount of salary terminated by a semicolon. Scanf, since it is an integer data type, so a format specifier %d would be used here, comma, and salary, bracket close, ended by a semicolon. Now we are going to decide depending upon this salary. So we are going to use the if statement. If salary is greater than equal to 60,000, what will it do? We will first use the opening parenthesis and we are going to write tax, calculate tax as 0.1 multiplied by salary. Okay, and since we are calculating the tax and this is applicable for the tax, so we are going to print the amount of tax as well. The tax applied on your salary is rupees percent D. So in place of percent D, it is going to put the value of salary. So after comma, we are going to write what to place in place of percent D. It's going to place the amount of tax calculated, and then we end it by a semicolon. So let's run it and see if we generate an error or is it running fine. Okay, there is an error here and it's telling us that we didn't initialize the variable text. So here we are going to initialize this as float because when multiplied by 0.1 it would be a decimal number. And if we have initialized it by float, obviously the format specifier used here would be %f instead of %d. So let's run it once again to see if it's working fine. Okay, we have another error. We have an unexpected expected semicolon before printf. There should be a semicolon here as well because this is the end of the statement. So every statement in C except for the if statement is terminated by a semicolon. This time it runs and we are going to put our salaries equal to 65,000 and let's see, it calculates the tax which is 500 and gave us the value. Our next program is to report whether the number that is taken input lies between 1 and 100. So starting off with the algorithm start, read the number if number is greater than equal to 1 and number lesser than equal to 100. That means apart from the relational operators used here, we have used the logical operator and as well. Because here we have to decide between two different conditions and a combination of these two conditions is important to decide whether to take the decision or not. So if this is true, that is, it is greater than 1 and lesser than 100, that means it is within range, and we exit the program. Going to the flowchart, start, read the number. If number is greater than, this is the condition, so it is enclosed within the rhombus, then a yes and a no branches. If it is true, then write it is within range. If it is false, do nothing and directly exit the program. Coding the program in C language, checking whether the number lies between 1 and 100. So we are going to take the number as integer data type, int num, and ask the user to enter the number. Enter the number terminated by a semicolon. The user will enter it this time through scanf. And since it is integer data type, so again the format specified used would be %d, comma, and num, terminated by a semicolon once again. This time we are going to decide, so we are going to use the if statement. If num is greater than equal to 1 and for and we use two ampersands, num is lesser than equal to 100. If this is true, this if statement is not terminated by a semicolon as mentioned earlier. We are going to use the double parenthesis for this, the opening and the closing parenthesis, and within that, if this statement is true, we are going to print the number is within range, and we terminate it by a semicolon. And obviously this is an if statement only, so as long as this if statement is true, this printf, the number is within range, would be printed. As soon as it will false, it will exit the program. So we run the program and we entered the number, we entered 4, and it says the number is within range. I'm glad that you understood the topic of the if statements and the if else statements. Hats off to you. Please don't forget to like, subscribe this video and share it. And please let me know in the comment section how did you find it. Thank you.